Was Rob really initially hunting Jason in Friday the 13th, Part 4? Ever since initially discovering who Rob was in Friday the 13th, Part 4, and why he was there hunting Jason. Now, the way the film portrays everything happening is that Part 2 and Part 4, which for you guys that don't know, Rob is the brother of Sandra in Part 2, who Jason shish kebabs with her boyfriend. I wondered, how is it that he was so prepared so quickly? With weapons, maps, newspaper clippings, all about Jason, when her death would have really have been, at best, maybe a week prior to his appearance. My theory is I think both Rob and Sandra were both obsessed with the Camp Blood story. As we see in Part 2, Sandra constantly wants to go check out Camp Crystal Lake, even getting caught by Deputy Winslow before they could enter the grounds. And then her death happens. She gets killed, and we flash to Part 4, and we find her brother Rob hunting Jason for revenge. Now, the way this theory kind of works is that with both of them being obsessed with the story, it was likely Rob was already on his way to Packanack. Like, they probably were captivated by Alice's story, and ultimately decided that since Sandra was working at Packanack, Rob could probably, with Sandra's help, find Camp Crystal Lake and maybe see if they can find some trinkets here and there, something to feed in to their obsession. But when Rob got the Packanack and saw that his sister was one of the victims, he instantly thought of Alice's story and about how Alice disappeared, and pretty much put two and two together. I guess you could say assuming, because Jason was not a known figure at that time. Now, after the events of Part 2, it's likely that Jason's shrine also would have been raided by police, and they would have found the bodies there. So Pamela's head being discovered would also be a clue for Rob to think that it was Jason. So from the events of Part 2 to Part 4, Rob may have been camping around Camp Crystal Lake until Part 4 happens and he runs into Trish Jarvis. Trish, just by chance, living in one of Jason's target areas, leads Rob back to the Jarvis house, where eventually he meets the same fate as his sister. But that's my theory, that Rob and Sandra were obsessed with the Jason story ever since Alice pretty much let her story be known. And they ultimately became victim of that obsession. But do you agree? Or do you have a theory of your own of why Rob was so prepared? Comment below and be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hitting the notification bell to be alerted whenever a new video is uploaded. And as always, I am JG Dark, and thanks for watching.